All right, so for today's spiritual transition game, which is where we transition from anything that literally people throw at us to the gospel. Today I've been asked to transition from this, a hair scrunchie. Okay, admittedly, I didn't know what a scrunchie was, so until this was thrown at me. So, how do you transition from a hair scrunchie to the gospel? This is a game we play so that you can practice changing any conversation to a spiritual one so that you cannot have to wait for an opportunity for the gospel, but you can make one. So if I had to transition to the gospel from a hair scrunchie, how would I go about doing it? Well, I guess being that, my hair's not long enough for a scrunchie, it wouldn't be very useful for me. But if you had long hair and you wanted to put it up because, well, maybe it's hot out or you don't want the hair to get in the food while you're cooking or while you're eating or to set it on fire over the stove maybe, you might want to use a hair scrunchie because it will protect your hair or keep you comfortable or something like that if you have long hair. But if you do not have long hair, well, hair scrunchie is not going to do very much for you. Right? See, a hair scrunchie doesn't do anything for me. Just like the gospel doesn't do anything for a self-righteous person. Because a self-righteous person doesn't see a need for a hair scrunchie, or really for the gospel, because they think they're righteous in and of themselves. But when someone recognizes that they have a need, maybe of a hair scrunchie, they're going to turn to where the truth is. Now, if the scrunchie is going to protect them, well, you know, that's one of the things that the gospel does as well. What is the gospel, you may say? Well, I'm glad you asked. The gospel is basically this, that though you and I have broken God's law, God himself came to earth, made a way of escape by dying on a cross so that he paid the punishment that you and I owe. He became sin for us, who he knew no sin, but he became sin so that we might become the righteousness of God. Now, if a person is self-righteous, they see no need for the gospel. But if someone recognizes their need, well, that is a person who needs to hear the gospel. Now, how do you know the difference between a self-righteous and a non-self-righteous person? Give them the gospel. That's one way to find out. That's probably pathetic, but that was how I would transition from a hair scrunchie to the gospel. How would you go about doing it?